Today, we're going to break down a really powerful communication rule. It comes straight from the world of high-stakes security investigations. The kind of stuff designed to keep people out of court. But the cool thing is, anyone can use it to make the writing way more clear, credible, and honestly, just better. So let me ask you something. When you think about all the things you might type out in an email, a report, or even just a post online, what do you think is the single most dangerous sentence you could possibly write? I'll give you a little hint. It's something that probably feels true when you write it, but could land you in a world of trouble. And there it is. The dangerous sentence? He stole the money. The safe version? He put the money in his pocket. Now, that difference looks tiny, right? But the consequences are absolutely huge. The first sentence is your opinion about his intent. And if you're wrong, well, that has a name for it: defamation. The second sentence is a verifiable fact. It's just what you saw happen, and that makes it completely defensible. And that gets us right to the heart of the problem. It's this high-stakes mistake that professionals are trained, like from day one, to avoid. It's the simple but potentially disastrous act of mixing up a fact with an opinion. There's this quote from this source material that just nails it. The most fatal error an investigator can make is to confuse what they saw with what they think it means. That one idea, that's the foundation of all credible reporting. And it's the exact point where everything can go completely off the rails if you're not careful. Okay, so how do we dodge this fatal error? Well, it all boils down to understanding one golden rule: knowing the real difference between a fact and an opinion. This is the simple secret that makes your communication absolutely rock solid. First step, let's get crystal clear on what a fact is. A fact is just objective reality. It's something you can prove, you can measure, or you can verify with your own eyes or with evidence. It's what you see, what you hear, what a camera would record. It's the raw data, nothing more. An opinion, on the other hand, well, that's the story we tell ourselves about those facts. It's our subjective conclusion, our belief, our interpretation. It's what you think the facts mean. And that right there is where all the danger is hiding. So how do we actually do this? The key technique is something that great writers and sharp investigators both live by. It's called show, don't tell. And it's all about turning your subjective opinions into a string of undeniable, objective facts. Let's look at a classic example. You don't just tell your reader the subject was nervous. That's your opinion. Instead, you show them why you think that. You describe the behaviors that led you there. The subject wiped sweat from his forehead, tapped his foot repeatedly, and avoided eye contact. You see the difference? It's huge. You let the reader come to their own conclusion, and you've backed it up with solid, factual observation. Or how about this one? Saying someone was drunk is a conclusion. It's your opinion. The factual, totally defensible way to say this is by showing the evidence. The subject stumbled while walking, slurred his speech, and smelled of an alcoholic beverage. You're not judging, you're just reporting what your senses picked up. And one more, just to really drive it home. Aggressive is a subjective label. But what if you describe that someone clenched his fists, stepped within 12 inches of the manager, and raised his voice? Now, those are specific, observable actions. They're facts, and they paint a much clearer, more powerful picture without you injecting your opinion into it. Now, this whole idea doesn't just apply to big labels like nervous or aggressive. It also comes down to specific words that are basically hidden opinion traps. They seem harmless, but man, they can totally destroy your credibility in a heartbeat. And you know where the biggest minefield is? Your adjectives and adverbs. These descriptive words. This is where subjective opinions love to sneak into what should be purely factual reporting. And that's what creates serious liability. Words like obviously or clearly are major red flags. I mean, think about it. If something was truly obvious, you wouldn't need to point it out. Suspiciously is another one, because what's suspicious to you might seem totally normal to somebody else. And words like huge or recklessly, they're purely subjective. They mean different things to different people. So here's how you fix it. Instead of the opinion, he drove recklessly, you state the fact. He drove at approximately 45 miles per hour in a posted 25 mile per hour zone. You're replacing that emotional, subjective word with cold, hard, measurable data. This is how you build an argument that nobody can easily poke holes in. All right, finally, let's talk about building your own communication safety net. These are a few pro moves you can use to handle those gray areas and protect your credibility when things aren't so black and white.
First, you gotta know that not all opinions are totally forbidden in formal reporting. There are two types that sometimes get a pass: lay and expert. A lay opinion is just a common sense conclusion anybody could make, like saying someone looked angry. But an expert opinion is a technical conclusion from someone who's qualified, like a fire marshal. The bottom line here is super simple. If you're not an expert, don't offer an expert opinion.
Here's a perfect real-world example of that. Unless you're a doctor, you should never, ever state a medical conclusion like the subject is not injured. You're just not qualified. Instead, what do? You go back to the golden rule. Describe what you see. The subject moved with a full range of motion. You just stick to the facts.
So, what happens when you can't be 100% certain about something? Easy. You pull out your qualifier toolkit. Words like appeared to, consistent with, or approximately don't make you sound weak. They make you sound precise. They signal to everyone that you're reporting carefully and honestly, and you're acknowledging the limits of what you could see.
Okay, so let's boil this all down into a simple 3-step checklist you can always use. Step 1, stay in your lane. Don't give expert opinions you're not qualified to give. Step 2, use qualifiers whenever you're not totally certain. And step 3, the big one, the golden rule. Always, always show, don't tell. Describe the behavior, not your interpretation of it.
And that really brings us to the final thought. The next time you write anything at all, an important email for work, a report, even just a comment online, stop and ask yourself this question. Are you showing the facts, or are you just telling your opinion? Because honestly, the answer can make all the difference.